Okay, hello everybody. So I greet you all, and I'm here with Peter, my partner in crime, and so I shall pass the mic over to Peter, and he will commence away.
I will. Hello everybody, back again. Right, I've got 2 or 3 dreams this time, as usual I suppose really. This one was about a week ago actually, and guess what, I was at work in the office, unusual as that is in my dreams, and a client come to the door, a real client, well I say a real client, I mean a client on the physical, and he's actually a motor mechanic and he keeps our old motors running. His name's Alan. He asked me if I was interested in going on a sea trip expedition sometime in the future, looking for sharks. I agreed to go, and he gave me this large, deeply frozen steak to store at home in the freezer for future bait, for presumably find the sharks with. So I took it home and opened the freezer, which was totally empty, and I stuck this thing in it. And Gwen asked me what it was for, and I told her what had happened, and she agreed that she's got no objection to let me going, the boss, on the expedition whenever it was going to be. That's about the end of the dream actually. But I mean, I was thinking about it afterwards, and I just sort of add a thing to it really. I certainly wouldn't have agreed to go to it if I thought that the sharks were going to be harmed in any way, and it was just anything other than photography that was involved. And the whole thought of animal steaks I find totally disgusting, being a committed vegetarian, but that's me. I discussed it with Kevin anyway, getting more to the point, and he thought that sharks represented the hidden dark forces, and Alan, the client, was probably a guide in disguise, the steak being a symbolic baiting of the dark forces by me, of them, in pursuing the new you, and this being the sole focus by me, hence the absence of other things or ideas in the freezer. I think that's about all we can say about it at the moment. Perhaps Dwayne, to be good enough to comment on that, please.
Yes, hello, and yes, Kevin, your dad is your partner in time. I don't know about crime. I don't know what you guys are doing on your own there, but in time for sure. And yes, that's the idea. Your workplace is kind of used because the boys are working with you, you see? And so they're making suggestions and to see if you want to take the next step and go on an adventure and an expedition, you know, more so than you've ever gone before. You know, it's something new out of your routine. And the real you did agree. And so you'll see how this will show up. And yes, Kevin's right. These are the sharks. These are, you know, you have sharks at sea. And you also have the really big sharks, which are the land sharks, aren't they? And we're seeing this in the world with this virus thing and all this nonsense because we're into human farming here. And so those are the real sharks. And see if you can bait them. The adventure is to help them wake up and possibly, make better choices is one example. You have a lot of variables there. So it's all free will. So yeah, that's very, very good. And again, they set up the scene for you to see if you will, go on this adventure, because the only way you're going to become more aware is get out of your routines and take the risk to do something you haven't done before. So as this is started, okay, so they will start to give you the tour, and this is where the guidance comes in on the real side. And then you be ready to see what shows up in your personal life also, but also I suggest that you take action in some creative way. And this is how the guidance works too. It's not you wait for them to tell you what to do. They don't live your life. You take the risk to do something, and then they will back you if they like what you've decided. I'm going to tell a little experience here that I had several years ago. And that is that Rebazar led me to a particular position across the street from my house to the beach. And all of a sudden, I was blocked by all the guides. They blocked me. They wouldn't let me through. And I just emphatically said, I basically said, get the hell out of my way. And as soon as I said that, it's almost like they cheered and said, way to go. Yeah, that's what we want. We want somebody that's really going to decide for themselves, you see? And so, again, this is not passive. The presentation is not passive. It's for the risk taker to decide something real, and then the boys will back you up. And this is where many people wait for the experiences. And yes, you will still have them, but at the same time, you decide something to move forward. So you have that option here, and they're showing you the possibility is what it is, but it will only become possible when you decide it is so. You see? Go ahead.
Okay, right, thanks. That's extremely interesting, actually, what you just said. Give me food for thought. Right, next one, next dream is, as usual, a fairly short one, but a bit of an ominous one, I felt, but maybe other people might think differently. I was in a room, big room, and in this huge table in front of me was this huge map of what's basically Midtown Manhattan. And my attention seemed to be drawn in particular to the junction of 5th Avenue and 34th Street where the Empire State Building stands. Of course, it wasn't on the map, but I mean, looking at that part of the map for some reason. And the map sort of stretched out in both directions to at least the 20s in the streets one way and the 40s the other way. And I seemed to be trying to copy it tracing it on paper. And then all of a sudden the whole map just turned bright red, scarlet in colour. And then that was the end. I rather thought that looks a bit ominous. I mean, does that indicate some impending disaster at the Empire State, being like the World Trade Center kind of a thing? Because the red sort of suggests death and blood. That's just me. I didn't unfortunately have a chance to discuss this one with Kevin, so it's just my thoughts on it. But over to you, please.
Yeah, no, you're right. Again, it's giving a hint, it's giving a warning. And again, the map is showing you possibly what's going on. The dark rats could be, just like some of the movies, they could be setting up a nuclear blast like they did with Fukushima, etc. So we'll see what happens. They're going to build upon this virus nonsense. And so it's getting ready. And this, for us, it's a big wake up, but this is where the adventure comes. We have to deal with it. We have this challenge, but we'll see what happens, won't we? That's a possibility, but they may change their mind too. But it's possible there, so that you see you're kind of given a warning as what's going to happen. Plus, there's going to be other places too, etc. So we'll see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Now a very short one indeed. Just hardly anything happened at all, but it was just rather interesting. That was I saw a flying saucer. That's not the first dream I've had of the flying saucer. It was almost particularly vivid, and it was in a field or somewhere. There was a group of people standing with me, and it's a beautiful flying saucer. It's a beautiful thing it was. It was perfectly circular and in sort of different shades of grey and black in rings around it. And the centre sort of band seemed to be rotating and seemed to have lots of little windows in it. I didn't see anybody in the windows. And it gradually came down and just settled in this field in front of us all, and that was really the end of the dream. So I didn't sort of know whether that actually means anything or anything, but I'm talking to Kevin about it. He said that he's had dreams recently about flying saucers landing, and it seems to be seems other people seem to be talking about this sort of thing. I don't know if there's anything sort of imminent that we're not sort of aware of.
Okay, was that it?
Yeah, afraid so. It was short.
Okay. Okay, so basically the idea is you were on top of a building with other people?
No, I was in a field with other people.
I was in a field, okay. Well, whatever. And so what was, Kevin, what was the impression that he had?
Well, he just sort of said that he'd also had similar sort of dreams recently of flying saucers, and gathered a lot of other people have been sort of having sort of similar sort of experiences. It seemed to be a common thing all of a sudden, sort of flying saucers landing.
Well, it's very interesting. So recently here too, I was shown the alien invasion again. So it's a heads up, kids. This is going to be a heck of an adventure. And yes, well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, go ahead.
The next one I've got is I was in a house. I don't know if it was our house, whose house it was, it doesn't matter. But everywhere in this house there seemed to be stacks of books standing around, a bit like a bookstore, really, a storeroom full of books. You couldn't move for sort of stacks of books on the floor here, there, and everywhere. And there was an open hatch to what was obviously the attic above us, or above me. I think I was the only person there. And under this hatch there was a chair, evidently to climb up onto to get up into the attic. And I seemed to be about to take books up, but instead of doing that, I suddenly got hold of the chair and smashed it to pieces rather violently. And I'm not quite sure what that was all about. I broke it into pieces so you couldn't use it. In other words, I just couldn't stand on it. So I guess it's something to do with going up into another level and somehow, I don't know, perhaps sabotaging my own forward movement into it. I don't know.
What did Kevin say?
So I didn't get a chance to discuss it with him beforehand, I'm afraid.
What do you see, Kevin? Because again, it's you're next to your dad there in his personal life. What do you see?
Well, if he's going into his attic, isn't the attic the unconscious or something like that? So he's basically he was on the verge of filing even more stuff into his unconscious, and then suddenly he possibly his real awareness or consciously realised what he was doing, so he destroyed the ladder or the step ladder that would or the chair, whatever it was, that would allow him to do so. So suddenly he stopped himself mid filing of unconscious things.
Okay, well, I didn't quite get all of it, so I wanted to hear your side of it. So yeah, the attic is that, and I've seen it many times. Back in the day, when I had the class there was one gal that she finally stepped up, and on the real side, the boys came in. Well, they came in and they went up to her attic and pulled out Joni and Harry. And so, yes, take a look at the idea there if you want the connection or you want to discover more, or maybe there's a part of yourself that doesn't. You have the option there to do that, but there is a lot in the subconscious with all of us. So again, you decide. Yes.
Okay, well, thanks very much for all that. That's probably me done for this time. I'll hand you back over to Kevin.